It's Mars, lover of all things iconic, and welcome to another episode of The Creative, which is a podcast where we kick the shit about all things creative, getting into how you, me, and we bring our imaginations to life. Welcome back to another week. I hope last week went well, and I hope this week is going even better. It's Pride, it's June, and June, the summer is here. The colors are everywhere. People are usually in a better mood. Everybody's partying, getting their life. So hopefully this week is giving you your life. But this week for me, it's been a struggle. And we're going to get all the way into that because this week's episode is going to be about betting on yourself. And betting on yourself is easier said than done because it's just a lot of sacrifices. And it's all on you because you're betting on yourself. Beyonce talks about this quite a bit. I don't have Beyonce money, so betting on yourself for me means something completely different. And I'm currently going through a bit of that right now, but we're going to get into that later because we got to get into everyone's favorite segment, which is Dream Gig. And this is a segment of the podcast where you manifest any dream gig that you want in the creative industry. It can be anything, it can be recreating a Michael Jackson video for another artist. To creating a jewelry line with Martine Ali, like it can just be whatever. For me this week, and precursor, I know y'all tired of me saying this. I know y'all are tired of me saying this, but I just got done watching Keisha Kayor's podcast, and her guest was JT. And she asked JT, was JT going to go on tour because JT has such a young fan base and they can't go to the club to see her. So she was like, yeah, I plan on doing, a tour where I can go to different arenas and people of that are under 21 can come and see me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, so as you all know, my dream gig since the beginning of the show has been to be JT's stylist, creative director, all things creative for JT. But I think I need to start being more specific. And when she said she wanted to go on tour, it just kind of clicked for me that my dream gig is to creative direct JT's first album and her first tour. Hopefully, building a relationship to where I just creative direct everything that comes after that. And when I say I'm going to focus on tour for this week's dream gig, when I say creative direct her tour, I mean I want to build and design her stage. I want to create her merch, work on her choreography, pull looks for the show, depending on what the theme of the show is. Like, I just really want to get in the lab with her creatively and elevate her vision because I see her vision so clearly. Like, I can feel it when I listen to her music and I can relate to her vision when she talks about it in like different interviews or on social media, whatever. Like, I feel it, y'all. I feel it in my body. Like I get the tingles, I get the butterflies, and I think about it when I talk about it. And that's just gonna continue to be my dream gig until it's no longer a dream. So I'm gonna do everything in my power to try to get on her team to be her creative director for her first album and her first tour and keep it pushing up from there because I want to be the law to her Zendaya. Like that's what I want for JT. That's my girl. I'm ready to lock in with her. So JT, if you're listening, if anybody from your team is listening, hit me up, world. Let's have a meeting. Let's talk about it because I am ready to cause some damage to the girls. Okay. Woo. Hey. So, we're adding a new segment to the show called Creative Community. And this is where you, the listener, send in questions about the creative process. It can be anything about advice on your current project that you're working on, or it can be a personal question to one of us, the host, or our upcoming guests. This new segment starts next week. So, get your questions in now. NOW now. And don't be shy. Like, you can submit your questions through Gmail at our email, thecreativecreativepod@gmail.com. Please put creative community in the heading, or you can head over to our Instagram at the Creative Creative Pod and just put it right in our comments or DM us, and we'll read them aloud on the show starting next week. So send them in. We look forward to it. Now let's get back to the show. And we're back, and we're back. I take it back, ho. 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 I run it back, bitch. I run it back, bitch. I run it back, back. So that song was in my head the other night. So I'm looking on Spotify and I'm like, is this on Spotify? And it definitely was. I forget what the artist's name was, but it's definitely on Spotify. And I was like, because they used to go off in the club. But anyway, so we're gonna talk about betting on yourself. And betting on yourself is so scary. And it could really take a toll on you because as a creative, it's something that all of us must do at some point in our lives. Like you must sacrifice the traditional way of living in order to create your dream gigs. You know what I mean? And sometimes that means giving up that traditional 9 to 5 job or moving or just a plethora of things that can put you in a different place where you can create and go towards your vision. And right now, I'm betting on myself 100%, depending solely on myself, which means this podcast, my social media channels, TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and threads, and then my brand Mars Orbit. Like, I am so proud of all of the things that I am putting out in the world. I am so gracious for how people are reacting to the things I'm putting out in the world. But it's different because in the past, I would bet on myself, but I would always have a traditional job to bring me income, or I will always have just things kind of in order. But now I have nothing like I'm just winging it and I'm going with the flow and I'm being delusional, just knowing that things are going to work out for me. But that's so much easier said than done. But I want to talk about how I've done this in the past and how it has worked out for me to inspire myself, one, and two, hopefully somebody else can hear this and be like, not feel as alone. Because I know there's a lot of you out there, a lot of creators out there who are betting on themselves because that's the only thing that kind of feels right. Like this world is just terrible. And it's just kind of like life is shorter than ever, but time is moving so fast at the same time. And you have to go for it. And I know a lot of us are doing that and a lot of us have that mindset. So I just want to share and, be in community with those who think like me. When I was moving to New York, I came to visit February of 2011 to like look for apartments and just, fill out different neighborhoods and things like that. And when I got here, y'all, I did not look for not one fucking apartment. I was just partying and touring the city. Like it really was just a life-changing trip for me. And New York just had a different energy back then. Like everybody was on the hustle and bustle. It was just I missed that New York. But anyway, so that trip kind of solidified for me that I was going to be living in New York by any means necessary. So when I moved back home, I was like, I'm just gonna bet on myself. Gave up my apartment, started couch surfing, sleeping on friends' couches, one friend here, another friend there. And I was just like gonna save money to move. But one thing about it was that I was a pharmacy technician. I wasn't making much money, not making much to save. And shit just kept happening to me. Car would break down, phone would break, like so much shit would happen to where my money would just get ate up every time. And so when it became time to move, I only had $800. And I asked a friend who was already living there, could I stay with them for a month while I looked for an apartment? And they agreed. So I definitely didn't let having $800 deter me from moving because I had somewhere to stay. Like I'm hitting it to New York, and I can transfer my pharmacy tech job. Yeah, I'm hitting it. So I transferred my job. I packed my car. I threw a lot of shit away, and whatever could fit in my car, I took it with me to New York with my $800. But I was being charged $400 for that month. So now my $800 is now $400. So I have to figure out how to come out with first month, last month, and deposit off of a pharmacy technician salary in New York. Well, Bayonne, New Jersey, because which is right outside of Jersey City, technically New York. But anyway, but it worked out. Like me betting on myself and just making all those sacrifices, it worked out because I'm still living in New York to this day. That was in 2011. I moved to New York 2012, like New Year's Eve, December 31st. Like when I was driving up to New York, that next night, it was 2012. And it worked out. So it's just kind of like, okay, I bet it on myself. And it stressed me out. Nights of crying and just because I was used to having an apartment and having my own stuff. So sleeping on couches and just not having your own shit, it did fuck with me a bit because that was new to me. Like even growing up as a kid, I always had my own room. So not having my own shit except for a car, it was just but I had to focus. I had to like sit with myself and be like, okay, you don't even need to play shit because you want to stay here no way. So it's just like I had to talk to myself and make sense of betting on myself and making those sacrifices, and it worked out. The second time I betted on myself, and I've betted on myself many times in my life. I just want to talk about these two times. The second time is Beyonce's Formation Tour. So Beyonce announced the Formation Tour in 2015 at the Super Bowl when she performed, right? Yeah, at the Super Bowl when she performed, and she announced it after she performed with Bruno Mars on a commercial break, right? And I was like, I want to go see her in Paris. I've always wanted to see Beyonce in Paris. It's like I want to go see her in Paris. So she dropped the tickets, and I was like, I'm gonna bet on myself. I didn't say it to myself, but looking back on it, that's basically what I was saying. But I basically said, like, I'm just gonna buy me a ticket in Paris, and that's gonna force me to get to Europe to go see her. Because I'm not wasting my money, right? I end up buying the tickets to Paris, and it was 79 euros. 79 euros. End up buying it. And I had to make so many sacrifices because I had to buy the plane ticket and the Airbnb and all of that. And my trip changed so many times because it was just going to be me going to Paris and coming back. And then I started like watching people backpack across Europe on YouTube and just talk about, and I started reading different articles about people who went to New York. I mean, I started reading different articles about people who went to Europe. And I realized that when people go to Europe, they don't just go to one place. They kind of hop around because it's so easy. So I was like, well, I'm going to go to all the places that I've been wanting to go to. So I was like, I'm going to go to Paris. I'm going to go to Amsterdam, and I'm going to go to London. And that's exactly what I did. So I had to sacrifice though. Like I had to save money. Airbnb was kind of new at this time, and I stayed in a studio apartment, y'all. So I ended up renting out my bedroom to people who were coming to New York, and I would sleep on my couch in the living room. But that's how I was like earning extra money because like I have to get to Paris, like I have to get there. It ended up working out. I went to Europe for the first time by myself on a solo trip and had the time of my life. And it had that trip has forever changed me because I really didn't know myself until I was in a foreign place where I wasn't familiar with anything. And I had to make sure I made it and took care of myself and fed myself and found my way. And it just really changed the way I thought about myself. And then it's just Europe, like it's Paris, this place you've seen on TV all these years and movies, and now you're here at the Eiffel Tower, like sipping champagne, like you're really here. And in London, again, I've been a huge fan of the Spice Girls my entire life. So to get to London and be like, wow, like I'm really here. I'm on the fucking double decker bus. So it's like that's another time where I bet it on myself. And like now I'm pushing my brand out. I've only gotten 5 orders, y'all, but I'm so happy that I created something and put it out in the world and people want to partake in it. And I'm so happy about those 5 orders, 5 orders in a month. And I didn't expect a lot of orders because the shirt and the postcards and the stickers, they're not affordable. Like the shirt is $100. The postcards and the stickers are affordable. The postcards are $6. The stickers are 3. But the shirt is not, and people are investing in my brand. And I'm so appreciative of that. But again, it's coming with so much sacrifice and betting on myself. But had I not betted on myself, I wouldn't have pushed myself to put the shit out. And even this new apartment, I betted on myself. I'm like, I want this new apartment because it's going to aid in me being more creative. I'll have the space to be creative. I'll have the room to create, and I'll have the time and the energy to just like soak it all in for myself and release it to the world. And I got the call that this apartment was available after applying for it for over a year ago. Got the call that it was available and emptied out my bank account to move in here, and my job is gone. So it's just kind of like I have the money to get in here, but how am I going to pay for it, you know? But I'm betting on myself, y'all. And it's scary some days. It's depressing some days. But most days, it's the happiest I've ever been because I know what's on the other side of this. I know that on the other side, things are going to work out in my favor like they always do because I'm going to meet the universe halfway and the universe is going to give me everything that I need. And for that reason alone, I shall not worry. There are going to be days where I'm just like worrying about it. But most days, no, no. I'm sick of living the traditional way. And I'm at this point now in my career as a creative where it's just like I feel great styling looks. I feel like myself creating content. I feel like myself designing products for my brand. Like I just feel like that's the natural path for me to take finally. And there's no turning back now. So these are the sacrifices that I got to make in order to be able to live this life every single day of my life. That I'm going to do that. And it's easier said than done because I'm living it right now. But if you are listening and you are feeling down and out because you're betting on yourself, you're putting all your money into your projects, your time, your energy, do not stop. Do not stop. Keep going, keep elevating yourself, keep betting on yourself because you are not going to let you down. Because what Beyonce said, me, myself, and I know that I would never disappoint myself. And that sticks with me. I know that I will never disappoint myself because I'm betting on myself and I ain't losing. It may feel like it, but that's not what it is. You're not losing. You're just changing your life and making sacrifices. And sacrifices come with rewards. And I hate the analogy that in order to like be happy and to live a fulfilled life, that you have to like struggle and do all of this because I don't believe that that's true. But for some people who don't have resources or who don't come from wealthy families and things like that, sometimes that is the truth. Like you are going to struggle and have to give up things in order to live a life of creative freedom. And I'm just ready to take that leap now. I'm ready to take the leap. And if you're ready to do it, I hope you take that leap too. Bet on yourself, have faith in the universe to meet you halfway, and keep it pushing. Thanks again for listening to The Creative Creative. This podcast is a dream come true. I do not take it for granted. Every week, the listeners are getting bigger and bigger. We have some things in store for you. Guest, the studio, the podcast studio that I used to record out of is about to open back up. Excited about that. That opens up in the middle of this month. So you'll be seeing more footage from inside of the studio. And you'll also be seeing footage in like other places. Like if you looked at the episode from last week, we shot that in Brooklyn at one of my friends' apartments. Hey, Louisa, shout out to you. We shot that in Brooklyn, and I'm going to be pulling up to people's studios, apartments, salons. Like I'm going to be pulling up to different places to film content. I want my guests to be comfortable, and I want them to start picking the places that if they want to come to the studio, pull up to the studio. But if they want me to come to their house or their office or their salon, then I'm pulling up, like, and making it do what it do because again, I'm betting on myself, and that's just what it is. So, our episodes will be released every single Wednesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube's on Thursdays. Please interact with us more. Leave us comments, feedback, things that you want us to talk about in the show. Like, let us know. And I know you heard that commercial about the new segment called The Creative Community, where you send in questions about the creative process. Please send in those questions at our email or in our DM or in our comments. Like, reach out to us because we want to talk about it on the show. Okay. As we say at the end of every show, leave here empty. Do not hold on to your gifts. Work on them, polish them, and release them out to the universe. You can't take them with you when you leave. So leave here empty. Okay. And we'll see you next week. Bye.